What's up, everybody? It's Nick here, and this is your second stimulus check stimulus package update video for Friday, October 9th. Now, we've got a lot of news to cover, but before we get into that, I want to invite you to hit that subscribe button below, click the bell notification icon so that you do not miss any of my update videos about the stimulus package and the second stimulus check. Now, with that being said, let's get into our news today. If you watch this channel, you know that the White House has been sending mixed signals to the country about the direction of stimulus negotiations. Earlier this week, President Trump ordered Steven Mnuchin, the Secretary of Treasury and stimulus negotiator for the White House, to stop negotiating, to shut off all negotiations of stimulus until after the election. That caught a lot of people by surprise. Trump accused Nancy Pelosi of negotiating in bad faith. The stock market took a nosedive when President Trump announced that he was calling off stimulus negotiations. And so just hours later, President Trump sees this, reverses course, and sent a tweet urging Congress to pass a stimulus bill for airlines and PPP funding. Trump also called for a second round of stimulus checks for $1,200. Asking, "Are you listening, Nancy?" Now, the following morning, Mark Meadows was asked by reporters to clarify President Trump's conflicting tweets from the night before. Meadows told reporters that the stimulus negotiations were off.
On or off? It was kind of confusing with the president.
Well, the stimulus negotiations are off. Obviously, we're looking at the potential for standalone bills. There's about 10 things that we agree on, and if the speaker is willing to look at those things on a piece-by-piece basis, then we're willing to look at it. It became very obvious over the last couple of days that a comprehensive bill was just going to get to a point where it didn't have really much Republican support at all. It was more of a Democrat-led bill, which would have been problematic, more so in the Senate than in the House.
Meadows blamed the breakdown in negotiations on Pelosi's refusal to come down from the Democrats' $2.2 trillion stimulus demand.
And I think the president's tweet was recognizing what we all know right now is over the last several days, while we have been increasing our offers and actually looking at some of the ways to compromise, there hasn't been the same kind of effort on the other side of it from the speaker. And so to suggest to continue to go on with conversations that wouldn't have the support in the Senate was really something that we couldn't do.
That same morning, Nancy Pelosi appeared on The View and discussed the breakdown in stimulus negotiations and where things were headed from there.
You've spent the past several months working on a coronavirus stimulus package to bring financial aid to millions of Americans who are desperately in need of money. But yesterday, Trump threw all of that into disarray by abruptly calling off the negotiations until after the election. Then, I'm not done with this. Then late last night, he backtracked and he said he would sign bills for the stimulus checks and only to help airlines and small businesses. What exactly is he up to, Nancy? What's going on?
Well, it's hard to see any clear, sane path on anything that he's doing. But the fact is that he saw the political downside of his statement of walking away from the negotiations.
Pelosi went on to call President Trump's behavior erratic, but stressed that it's really important to her that the parties reach an agreement on stimulus.
Yes. He tweeted, "Our great USA wants and needs stimulus work. Work together and get it done." Imagine. And then they say women are moody. So what do you think is causing this erratic behavior? What's your explanation?
Well, I think it's true to form. I think that the president has always had erratic behavior, but I will say this. It is really important for us to come to this agreement when the president just popped off and made that announcement without even informing us that that was the case. He insulted the Constitution of the United States. This is not a personal thing with him that he can send out checks with his name on it. This is the money of the American people, and our priority in our country is we must crush the virus, and we must honor the people who are hard at work doing that, and we must address the consequences of it.
When asked whether meeting with President Trump at the White House or just giving him a phone call and speaking to him directly might bring the parties closer together and help them close the stimulus deal, Pelosi quickly shot that idea down.
When was the last time you had an actual conversation with him? Do you? I remember the last time I saw you do it on television, and it didn't seem like it went that well. So is it time to pick up the phone? Do you want to go over to the White House? What's the best way to work this out now?
I wouldn't go anywhere near the White House. It's one of the most dangerous places in the country, both in terms of the assault that it makes on truth as well as health.
Pelosi was then asked why she won't come down from the $2.2 trillion stimulus demand that she has made and stuck to this entire time.
Speaker, in his tweet yesterday, President Trump accused you of not negotiating in good faith and only seeking a bailout for poorly run, high-crime Democrat states and things unrelated to COVID, like a $15 billion bailout of the post office and $270 million in grants for the arts and humanities. As of this morning, you've still been talking with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Why are you not making more concessions to get Republicans on board and pass something? Isn't that better than nothing at this point?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a missed opportunity. We came down, Chuck Schumer and I Leader Schumer, when I was recently a guest, he enjoyed it, as we all did. We came down $1 trillion, and then we came down $200 billion more.
Then yesterday, in a phone interview with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, President Trump was asked why he had suddenly called off the stimulus negotiations, only to then restart them just hours later. Here's what he had to say.
I missed very little time.
You're calling for aid now. You want aid for the airlines, for small business, $1,200 checks. But you just said that you were shutting down talks with Nancy Pelosi. How do you want to see aid play out? And what do you want as far as a priority on stimulus?
Well, I shut down talks 2 days ago because they weren't working out. Now they are starting to work out. We're starting to have some very productive talks. And she wants to happen, too. She doesn't want it not to happen. I believe she wants it to happen because it's so good for our country. We really need it. It wasn't our workers' fault. It wasn't our airlines' fault that China did this terrible thing to us, and I will not be forgetting about that. China did this. This was all done by China. And we shouldn't be hurting our workers because China put the curse on, because this was a horrible scourge, a horrible thing that they did. And so I said, look, we're not getting anywhere. Shut it down. And I didn't want to waste time. But in any event, after that, we got back. Both sides very capable. We got back. We started talking again, and we're talking about airlines, and we're talking about a bigger deal than airlines. We're talking about a deal with $1,200 per person. We're talking about other things.
Now, President Trump also appeared to back away from his earlier accusation that Nancy Pelosi was to blame for the breakdown in stimulus talks and that she was negotiating in bad faith. As you can see in this next clip, he also believes there's a really good chance of reaching a stimulus deal.
But it's not anybody's fault. They were trying to get things, and we were trying to get things, and it wasn't going anywhere. I shut it down. I don't want to play games. And then we reopened, and I see the markets are doing well, but I think we have a really good chance of doing something.
But just when it looked like President Trump was smoothing things over with Nancy Pelosi, he could not resist the urge to remind us all how much he dislikes her.
Nancy Pelosi, look, she's not my favorite person. She impeached me for no reason. So when you get impeached for no reason, you have a little bit of a telltale lag. But, she impeached me over a phone call that was absolutely perfect. Okay, and everybody knew it, and they never had a chance. And but I still had to go through a process, which is ridiculous. So it's not like
the impeachment trial.
I think she's the greatest person in the world.
So after all of that drama earlier this week, President Trump today announced that he was raising his stimulus plan offer to the Democrats from $1.6 trillion up to $1.8 trillion.
We're moving in the right direction. The bid and the offer is narrowed. It looks like a trade is imminent, and it's a good thing. It's going to provide the economy in good shape. The V-shaped recovery is looking very good in my judgment.
So that's a good move. That's a move closer towards the Democrats' $2.2 trillion, closing the gap to just $400 billion. This morning, Trump wrote optimistically on Twitter, "COVID relief negotiations are moving along. Go big." So the ball is now back in Nancy Pelosi's court. Will Pelosi and the Democrats match the Republicans' move by coming down to, say, $2 trillion? Or will they dig their heels in until the election? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and click the bell notification icon so that you do not miss any of my updates as the stimulus negotiations continue and develop. Finally, don't forget to get 2 free stocks by simply opening an account with Webull and depositing $100. Make sure to use the link in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching.